At this time, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Faramasca,
Second.
second by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Faramasca,
Yes.
Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Ms. Zarate,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
and Mr. Sheridan.
Aye.
And now, is there anyone present wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 5-2010? Hearing none and seeing none, may we have a motion to close
So
the
moved.
public hearing?
Second.
So moved by Mr. Faramasca and seconded by Mr. Schleifer. Now, on adoption, be it resolved, we take a roll call. Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Ms. Zarate.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Sheridan.
Aye.
Now on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, amending and supplementing Chapter 123 of the Code of the Township, entitled Economic Development Advisory Committee, to include 2 additional regular members and 2 additional alternate members, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance shall be published in the March 4th issue of the Hanover Eagle. May we now have a motion for adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Faramasca,
Second.
second by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Ms. Zarate.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
Mr. Sheridan.
Aye.
So adopted. Ladies and gentlemen, our next ordinance for consideration on public hearing and adoption is docketed as ordinance number 6-2010. And this ordinance is an update of our regulations in the Township's Code and the Township's Personnel Policy and Procedures Manual to update changes dealing with the federal and state, federal and family medical leave. And this repealed Section 61-12D, entitled Family Leave Policy, under Section 6112, entitled Leave of Absence, with the inclusion of a new Section 61-12D, entitled Family and Medical Leave, under Chapter 61 of the Code of the Township, entitled Salaries and Compensation, Personnel Policies. The ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the February 18th issue of the Hanover Eagle. At this time, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Faramasca,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Ms. Zarate.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Sheridan.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 6-2010? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion at this time to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Faramasca, seconded by Ms. Zarate. On roll call, Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Ms. Zarate.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Sheridan.
Aye.
Now, on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, repealing Section 61-12.d, entitled Family Leave Policy, under Section 61.12, entitled Leave of Absence, with the inclusion of a new Section 61.12d, entitled Family and Medical Leave, under Chapter 61 of the Code of the Township, entitled Salaries and Compensation, Personnel Policies, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of this ordinance shall be published in the March 4th issue of the Hanover Eagle. May we now have a motion on adoption?
So moved.
So moved by
Second.
Mr. Schleifer, seconded by Mr. Capola. On adoption, Mr. Faramasca,
Aye.
Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Ms. Zarate,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
and Mr. Sheridan.
Aye.
So adopted. Ladies and gentlemen, as we now continue with the agenda, we have two additional ordinances for introduction. They're not docketed on your agenda, but they were discussed in conference work session. The first is docketed as ordinance number 9-2010, an ordinance of the Township Committee amending and supplementing section 125-4, entitled Recreation Department Fees, under chapter 125 of the Code of the Township, entitled Fees, with the inclusion of new resident and non-resident pool membership fees for the year 2010 Bee Meadow swimming pool season. This ordinance will be further considered for public hearing and final adoption at the Township Committee meeting on March 11th at 8:30 p.m. here in the main meeting room. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard concerning the ordinance will be given the opportunity to speak. It is further resolved that the business administrator, township clerk, is directed to advertise the ordinance in full with the notice of introduction in the Hanover Eagle pursuant to law. Are there any comments on this ordinance at this time?
In light of the economic conditions, I think it's laudatory on our behalf to try to hold the fees to encourage individuals to participate in the pool, as well as to attract new individuals to the pool. So I think it's a positive initiative.
I also think we had a discussion amongst us that each one of us in the township committee is going to make a great effort to get more families out to the pool. Committeeman Arati mentioned before there's a very limited budget for that pool, and it relies on its membership. So I think we should make a commitment amongst each of us to join ourselves and get as many families out there as we can.
I totally agree. This year there's a lot of activities planned for the pool, and there's a lot of after-hour activities. If you're a member, you'll be allowed in the after-hour activities as far as your membership. And if you're not a member, then you'll have to pay additional for the after-hours. And I feel that it's going to be such a lot of fun down there that we're just going to be overwhelmed as we were in the past. There was a waiting list for membership in the past, and we're hoping to get back to that very soon.
Amen.
Any further comments? Okay, hearing none, may we move the introduction?
So moved.
We have a motion by
Second.
Mr. Faramasca, second by Ms. Arati. On introduction, Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Ms. Arati.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Sheridan.
Aye.
So introduced, ladies and gentlemen. And as we proceed, ladies and gentlemen, we have a second ordinance for consideration of introduction. This ordinance is, actually we have a total of 3 for introduction. This is the second one. This is an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, reducing the 2 cents per $100 of assessed valuation dedicated to open space trust fund tax to 1 cent per $100 of assessed valuation during calendar year 2010 only, and further authorizing the Township's Chief Municipal Finance Officer to collect the 1 cent dedicated tax. And again, this would only be for calendar year 2010. This ordinance will be further considered for public hearing and final adoption. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard here in the main meeting room at 8:30 p.m. on March 11th will be given the opportunity to do so. It is further resolved the business administrator, township clerk, is authorized and directed to advertise the ordinance in full with the notice of introduction in the Hanover Eagle. Are there any comments at this time before introduction?
Well, this ordinance is designed to change the tax levied for the open space with the purpose of providing tax relief to our residents and our taxpayers. The point being, again, emphasizing the economic times that we're in. We are trying as a committee, as a whole, to create opportunities of savings as we go forward with our responsibilities to budget and prepare for the coming year.